Morning. Welcome to Monday. Sean, we'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, commissioners. Right. We're just waiting.
Is it Monday morning for computers too?
Anybody know how long the I-5 backup was?
I'm gonna have to ask you to get a little closer to that mic because between a ear infection, or excuse me, a sinus infection and a tooth I got pulled Thursday last week, my ear's about half working here.
Oh, man.
I don't know how long it got. I was over in Pasco watching some LCC basketball. So I missed it was cleared by the time I came through yesterday.
Missed all the excitement.
You could say that. I saw the exciting pictures on Tootle Park Drive though.
I don't know.
Oh,
Climber River, do we get that open back up?
well, I don't know about Climber River from that slide. I don't know.
I think so. I'd have to check back to the Public Works Facebook group. They keep that updated pretty good.
That looked like a heck of a slide too.
Yeah.
That clay base is really hard till it gets saturated, and when it gives away in chunks. And even going out to my house between the four corners and out, you can see nothing that came onto the road, but you can see little places where it's,
Filled the ditch.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this morning, Commissioners, we have Kim Bocat with me here. We're talking about the expo budgets. So we're just going to dive into it. The first fund we're talking about is the 15801 fund for tourism. In 2025, we collected just shy of $500,000 in revenues for taxes of our budget of $590,000, miscellaneous 27 of 30,000. And then other financing sources were right on spot at about 975,000. So in the other financing sources, if you remember last year, we closed the cumulative reserve fund. Those funds were then transferred into here. That was approximately 914,000. Additionally, we have the Stadium Convention Center transfer for another $60,000. So on the expense side, personnel was fairly close, 127 of 129. Services is our big category here. We were at 605 of 676. That includes payments for tourism-related grants, market analysis, advertising, and then, of course, internal services was about 26,000 on this one. And then we have a transfer of about $45,000 to the Expo Center for 1101 fund. Current cash balance is approximately $1.4 million.
So the grants are those the LTAC?
Yes, that's correct.
So LTAC, trying to explain this, I happen to sit on that one. These funds come in and we heard a little bit last week when Chamber was in for Squatch Fest. People present these events to the LTAC committee. The LTAC committee reviews them and ranks them and scores them and suggests a dollar amount to give to these. And then, if I'm right, then it comes to final approval to this board. And we have the ability to move those. We don't have the ability to change who gets the money, but we have the ability to change the dollar amounts between those. So that's kind of how that system works. And we didn't have a whole lot this year. In past years, we've had some pretty good funds in that I think have built up.
So we do have a small grant program that we have allocated $50,000 towards, and that's to help with marketing of new events or existing events that are wanting to grow their marketing, grow their outreach. So that's the
Yeah, good point.
50,000.
We have a small grant program and a large grant
Correct.
program. Yeah.
Yes. And then the large grant program is really, it could be for marketing, but a lot of the grants that we've seen have been more for structural things that are tourism related. And that one will be available this year. So that's every 2 years we offer the large grant, and the 50,000 small grant is yearly.
Just for examples on the large grant, like we put a little bit into the what is Castle Rock called their
The North County Recreation Association.
Yeah, we put a little bit in there. I think we've done some down Kalama and in different places for some of those things. Yeah, okay.
Just a reminder, we had that large transfer in, and that really bolstered that cash balance from last year.
What was the transfer from?
Cumulative Reserve Fund. So
yeah,
the fund we closed, yeah. So those, $14,000. So other than that, we would have been on a 1-year fund balance, which is typical.
Was that funds we had set because when we had the center up going up towards the mountain, when that was county property, we kept a reserve to keep that up to date or do something. That's where that reserve.
Correct. So the two funds were set up. The tourism facility the tourism fund was set up just for a regional tourism fund marketing program. I believe it's the 2% tax, 1% was going to the tourism fund, our tourism department, which is in charge of regional marketing. And then the other 1% was going to repay the bond that the county had put out for Hofstad Bluffs construction. And when Hofstad closed in 2016, then that money started. There's different ways of using that money. So Kathy last year closed that.
So those are the funds we're talking about that were transferred. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. So next we're going to move into the Expo funds. So first up is going to be our 41101, the Expo Center. A variety of revenues coming in here. We have intergovernmental, 151 and 157. These are mainly state grants and fair funds. Goods and services, 159 of 162. The large contributor in this category was the rodeo admission fees. Miscellaneous, 381 of 352. It's going to be rents and leases and then interest earnings. And then other financing sources of 270. Be a general fund transfer of 125,000. The transfer in from Silver Lake Gift Shop for 100,000, and then the tourism transfer we just talked about for 45,000. The Silver Lake Gift Shop is a higher transfer in than normal. We skipped a year, so normally it's $50,000.
So that gift shop, what's the net value of that gift shop?
Pardon me?
What's the net value of that Toodle gift shop? Is that a moneymaker for us?
Yeah, so that'll be coming up shortly.
Okay.
So for the expense side of the 41101 fund, personnel came in under budget, 215 of 273. There were some combo code and distribution changes that were done for 2026 to help alleviate that issue. Supplies came in under budget again, 38 of 43. Services also under budget at 489 to 495. And then capital was under budget as well, 28 of 75. So in those supply category, we're gonna see mainly fair food, supplies, sanitary supplies, things of that nature. Services, of course, repairs and maintenance on the facilities, some professional services. Utilities were $75,000 annually, and then our internal service fees are 51,000. The capital side is going to be continuing ongoing engineering consulting costs for the RV park. Current cash balance is $1.15 million. Any questions on the expo? Next up, we have the conference center. It's always hard to distinguish between these two. The names are very close. So it's the 41102 fund. Our first revenue lines, goods and services. So we were 731 of $920,000. In there is sales of merchandise for about 612,000, and then the PFD payment for 120,000. Then our miscellaneous line, 472 of 970, excuse me, 472 of 491. It's gonna be once again rents and leases of the site. And then our interest earnings of about $16,000 on that. So overall, we did have a reduction of our budget, but we'll see that offset in our reduction on expenditures as well.
What merchandise do we sell? That's referring to.
It's put under merchandise, but it's, I don't know exactly what goes into there, but there's catering, there's linen, there's a lot of different things that we, for event.
Yeah, so the
purposes.
breakdown on that, if we go back a slide there, the miscellaneous really has the leasing of the space. And then on these goods and services is the ancillary items, a concessionaire, AV fees, things of that nature, maybe a fancy display. I don't know what kind of things they sell.
Where are we at here? Sorry, I'm trying to read that.
Onto the expense side. Personnel came under budget as well, 306 of 335. Supplies under budget, 9,700 of 20,000. And then services were under budget as well, of 939 of 1.15. So we talked about revenues were under budget, but the expenses were under budget to match as well. In the supplies, we're gonna have our custodial items, O&M items. Services can be catering, professional services, utilities, taxes, and then of course our internal service fees. Current cash balance is about $434,000.
Any of the accounts that we've been talking about this morning do we give any of those money from the general fund?
The 41101, we do a transfer from the general fund, and that is approximately $125,000 for 2025. For 26, we did cut that in half to 62,500.
I don't know if it's been a couple weeks ago or whatever, when we were talking about the upcoming contract with PFD, that it's never changed from the beginning. And that I think we need to look at the change. The reason for that is to cover that.
Okay. To cover the 75,000 that we're doing now?
Yeah. Yeah. And I understand why they did that with PFD to beginning, because you didn't know how it was going to go, but it's successful, and
yeah,
and I wanted to be successful, but we should share in a little bit in that.
So our next and last fund is getting back to the gift shop, the Silver Lake gift shop. This is fund 41105. Our revenues are going to be goods and services. We were just shy of 500,000 of a 550 budget. This is mainly going to be sales of merchandise at the gift shop itself, and then some miscellaneous. The miscellaneous is going to be our interest earnings. Under the expense side, personnel was pretty close, 56 of 59,000. Supplies, 236 of 243. Services, 154 of 208. and then transfers of 100,000 out. Supplies, of course, mainly going to be items for resale within the gift shop and of course our O&M supplies. Services, we have our temporary staffing, we have to pay our taxes, have to pay our credit card fees. So taxes and credit card fees were 38 and 21,000, pretty significant value. And then our internal service fees were about $8,000.
Sean, this is not just because of this, but I'm looking at this and this question popped into my mind. What differential do you feel is acceptable on, we're 65,000 under here, $50,000 under there, $60,000? I mean, is there a percentage that you're looking at that you say this is acceptable for this department? And is that based on its budget overall? Because you know, as I'm looking at this, and we've had this conversation before, when we're looking at the budget, there's a lot of money to one side that's sitting on the sidelines, and how do we hone that in as opposed to just sidelining it at the beginning of the year so that we have more money to work with as we move on throughout the year? Does that make sense?
It does. I think the first thing we need to look at is the type of fund it is and what sort of business it is. If it's an enterprise fund like Kim's here, or if it's a portion of the general fund or special revenue fund, and if it has an ending fund balance, or if it's an allocation for the year. If it's a enterprise fund that's based upon sales and we're doing our estimates year in and year out, I think we could see a higher differential there. If we're looking at more of an allocation based one, with such as the general fund, we'd probably want to see less than 5% or even tighter than that.
Okay.
It all comes down to what's the board's appetite for budget amendments throughout the year. The tighter we get, the more often somebody's gonna have to come in and ask for a change.
Question on the Silver Lake Visitor Center. How does it operate? We heard Chamber in here the other day, and if I recall right, she said there's a section in there where they can browse around, but then there's a section they have to pay to get into?
Correct. So the visitor center itself is ran by Washington State Parks. We
Okay.
operate the gift shop. You can come in and get information as well as shop in the gift shop without paying an admission fee. If you'd like to go into the movie and the exhibits, you do pay a $5 admission fee.
That's Washington State Parks?
Correct.
It's not the county?
No.
Okay.
No, the county runs the gift shop. It's just inside the door to the right. There's a large information counter that's staffed by volunteers. In the wintertime, they're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Beginning April 1st, they'll be open 7 days a week, and they'll operate that way until the end of October.
Okay. You know, and I can talk about this later too, but I'm seeing you this afternoon, I think, but we had Chamber in, and they basically laid out a fairly passionate case that they should be the center of marketing for Cowlitz County. And you have this group together, and I would ask you to speak with your group, because I know you have people from all over the county on it. I mean, I sit in there and listen to a lot of it. If they would want to do a presentation and inform this board and the public how they've set this up and what their goals are and what they see, how they think it should run, and how they were selected, because we heard a lot of passionate testimony last week, and I think sitting in those meetings, I think I don't think anybody took it cavalier, the direction that they chose, and you have some pretty high-powered people in there, and maybe it might be worth for them to come and speak about why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, excuse me. So when we called this group together, it was county tourism and city leaders. It was about a year ago, just to give I'll try and keep it brief, but the brief history is that tourism has changed. The tourism landscape has changed since the program was started in 1996 with Hofstad Bluffs. And over the years, then COVID happened and everybody started doing their marketing in their silos. Everybody was, county tourism just kind of kept plugging along, trying to bring that national level, trying to bring people in. And the idea was that then once they got here, then the local communities will embrace that and then help these people as to where to stay, what to do. And so everybody kind of got into their own silos. I'll just use that term. And so we brought everybody to the table and said, this isn't working. We're all trying to do our own things. I think a lot of us are doing the same thing. And how can we work together and how can we better market Cowlitz County as a whole? First of all, people don't care what county they're in when they're doing something. I've never recalled traveling going, oh, can't do that because that's Lewis County trying to identify what our assets are as in each city, unincorporated areas. The county tourism is largely focused on Mount St. Helens, which, as we all know, is an anchor. However, once people get here, especially in recent years with Johnston Ridge being closed, people are saying, what do we do? And we like to market it as more than just a day because that puts heads in beds. But when they're driving up there, what they want to see is closed and there's no other real opportunities staring them in the face. They get back on I-5 and they go north or south and they continue on their journey. So we recognize that and we said, we need to all come to the table and we need to decide to work together. And so that's what we did. We chose to hire a company to come in and do an analysis of what we have been doing, what's working, what's not working, and how can we grow that. And so this company has come in. And so the analogy they use is, you've got to crawl before you walk before you run. And so the group has started very small. We call it the Alliance, for lack of a better term. The next group is the work group. So we're starting to spread that out a little bit. And then the next group is going to be our extended collaborators. And the extended collaborators are going to be organizations such as the Forest Service, the Kelso Longview Chamber, the Castle and Kalama and Woodland Chambers. There's a whole list of groups that are going to be involved. So we had hoped to roll this out in March. March 19th actually was our target date to have exactly what you're talking about, the presentation of what we're doing, what this looks like, and what it means for all of us and how we can all get involved. Unfortunately, we just ran into some time things, so we're looking at April for that rollout. We do meet again this week. The contract amendment that you signed a couple weeks ago has given Fine the ability to move forward with the branding. They're coming to us with some logo options as far as, I don't know if you've seen the Visit Mount St. Helens logo, which other than our county government logo is the only other logo we have, and it looks like a spaceship. So that doesn't speak to everybody. So more to come on that, but yes, there is definitely a plan to involve everyone. We need everyone. We recognize that. But what's happened over the years is as we've tried to do different things and then you get 18 different opinions and 18 different ways to do things, you don't go very far. So it's been a very concerted effort to kind of define what it is we're doing and then move that forward. Does that answer your question? I kind of rambled there for a little bit.
Well, I know what they're doing because I've been sitting in there. And just when you're ready to present it, I think you need to present it on a level so the county knows what's going on.
The plan, what we've talked about is having like a luncheon and a presentation, like hey, we're excited. We want you to be excited. That's really the planning that's gone into that so far.
Kim, did you get a chance to watch that presentation last week?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to get your take on it.
I heard bits and pieces. and saw some of the slides. So I think there, a little bit of history with that visitor center, the Kelso Longview Chamber used to have a building in downtown Longview. And in the early 2000s, county tourism moved over to the Kelso Longview Chamber. And in that same transition, they leased that space over at the Park and Ride where the building is now. It used to be 2 trailers. It was a Mount St. Helens Visitor Center and then some kind of a visitor information, 2 trailers kind of put together. So they cleaned it up, put that great new building in over there. And the county tourism person actually resided in that building, and the county funded the salary of that person. And then there was some marketing that was taking place. In more recent years, the county brought it back to the county. It's a county employee. I oversee the budget, and then we do have a tourism assistant. And after, I think it was 2017, I'd have to look back. The city of Woodland was coming to the county and asking for help with their visitor center, about $15,000. And so it was really, it was not a decision that our department made. It was a decision that OFM made to fund, just to budget it every year, rather than having Woodland come back every year and say, hey, we need help with this. They said, let's give them $15,000. Let's give the Castle Rock Chamber $15,000 to help with their visitor center. And let's give Kelso Longview Chamber of Commerce $20,000 for their visitor center. That's the level of involvement that the county has had with the Kelso Longview Chamber office and visitor center, other than we do provide some of the maps and whatnot that are on the outside of her building. Or their building, not hers. But to give you a little bit of history there.
Any other budget? Any other budget questions?
Went down the rabbit hole, didn't we?
We did, sorry.
Okay,
Thank you, Commissioners.
thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item, Public Works.
Good morning, Commissioners. Susan Eugenius, County Engineer. We have several bid items for this week. The first 3 items are all call for bids. The first one is our call for our annual overlay project. We go out to bid every year. Our estimate this year is approximately $2 million, which is in our budget. We are going to open those bids on April 13th. Our next call for bids is for our solid waste up at the headquarters landfill. We put these big words in here for you, Commissioner Dahl. So we have 2, both of them are on the same agenda.
Why
So
don't you just call it SRPG?
So this is the call for bids for the 100 by 200 foot scrim reinforced polyethylene geomembrane
Yeah.
tarps.
Uh-huh.
So it's 28 rolls of tarp is what this call is for bid. This is also going to open on April 13th at 1:30. These are purchased, material purchase, and are delivered directly to headquarters landfill. The final call for bid that we have is for your favorite, the high-density polyethylene pipe, also for the landfill. This is for the gas wells. We're calling for a bid for one-time purchase of 1,500 linear feet of solid 8-inch diameter and 2,500 linear feet of perforated. This also is delivered to the landfill and includes delivery. These are used to construct wells as we're adding fill. The next item is the bid award for our aggregates for bituminous surface treatment. The bids were opened on March 2nd. We received 3 bids. We use this rock for our chip seal program. So the low bidder was Sterling Green Crushing. They are out of Centralia for a total cost of $421,216.49. This rock is delivered to 4 locations throughout the county, closer to the areas where we'll be using the materials this year.
Have we used them before, just out of curiosity?
Do you remember, Sean? Have we used Sterling Green before?
Usually with travel time, you don't see an out,
Our bidders were Sterling Green, which is Centralia, Good Crushings, which is Winlock, and Granite out of Rochester.
oh, wow. Oh,
I believe
Okay.
Sterling Green won the contract last year as well for our chip seal rock.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Okay. So we have no locals that do this?
They don't crush for this anymore. And
I'll be darned. Okay.
so our next item is the one motion item. It is the bid award for the Tower Road Bridge at Rock Creek. We've opened bids on March 19th. We received 5 responsive bids, 1 non-responsive bid. So we're asking for award to Quigg Brothers for an amount of $2,683,985. They were approximately, I didn't write down the difference. So it was a really close bid. So the next bidder was at 2.8, so 2.7 versus 2.8 on this project. It is slightly above the engineer's estimate, but we do have adequate funding available to pay for this project. This project, we have that grant from Commerce, which was the earmark that we received from the state for under just $2 million. And then we have some ARPA money in this project. So we have enough to cover the construction and the inspection for this project. So the remaining item that Public Works has is the public hearing for the vacation of the portion of Totiff Road, the very end of Totiff Road that the Port of Kalama has requested. So that hearing is scheduled for 9:30 on tomorrow.
Susan, side question for you.
Sure.
With these, the past 2 high water events that we've had on the Cowlitz, does the diking district go out and reevaluate the dikes after the water goes down to make sure that we're still okay?
Yes, the Diking District regularly runs the dikes during and after the storm events. They go out and look at the dikes. So
Yeah, good point. How there, we didn't know that we were gonna get another big water event. How'd your dual culverts do on Bond?
Barnes,
Barnes,
I
yeah.
didn't hear anything about Barnes.
Road still there?
Road's
Good.
still there.
Good.
Barnes is still there. Some other places, not so much.
Yeah.
So we're out doing reconnaissance again today to see if there's anything that we missed over the weekend. We have a couple spots that the geotech will come out to look at, and Savannah knows all the roads.
Morning, Savannah Clement, Public Works. So yeah, I was just actually telling Sean, this last event was very eerily similar to our December 8th event, if not worse in some of our areas. I think it was just a lot of rain that we weren't prepared for, even with the forecasts in such a short period of time. So a lot of our normal roads were almost worse off than they were back in December during our event. So it's just a lot of rain that, in a short period of time. So we did close Tootle Park Road down to 1 lane. We lost about 4 feet in, I think, a matter of hours. So it really hit North County Then, of course, landslides are so unpredictable. We had another landslide on Holcomb Road. We had another landslide on Clammer River Road. I'm sure you guys were well aware of the Woodland area I-5 issue with the landslide there. So I wouldn't say they weren't massive landslides, ones that we were able to clear, which is always good, but they are the reoccurring kind of areas that we have that we get them a lot in. So,
Same area on Holcomb?
yep, same area. Yeah.
Do we know if we had any residences flooded this time?
Not that I've been made aware of, and I sure hope not. But yeah, I haven't been made aware of any residential areas that were flooded like homes. If that's what you're referring to. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard of any.
So Ostrander Creek survived this round.
Yeah, this round, although I will say it was higher than it was back in December, probably from snow melt. We didn't have a lot then, we do now. And so we did have one water rescue on Ostrander Creek in the road. They tried to pass it. I think there was some maybe not misinformation, but assumptions because there was a gas can on top of their car that they maybe ran out of gas there. But that is not the case. So they drove into that. So, it's a good reminder, turn around, right? Don't drown. It's a thing. And we see it at almost every large event. Not to this extent, but we do see it a lot.
Yeah.
Do we have to, I'm sorry, Rick.
No, go ahead.
Do we have to request that the Corps come back out to, like, after the water subsides in the Cowlitz to scan with LiDAR again to check the sediment, the depth of it? Or do
So
they just do that?
they do that every year when they're funded, so they should be out. They generally come out in August, September. I think this year will be interesting because we've had two very high flow
Morning.
events.
Welcome to Monday. Sean, we'll turn it over to you.
Good.
I'm like, I
morning,
hear you,
Commissioners.
but you're not talking.
I know.
What's happening? Sorry. Twilight Zone.
Oh.
Somebody's got their hand in my back.
Talking about the I-5 slide, I'm sorry, Susan, you were on your train, you had a train of thought. No?
I'd lost
Okay.
my train of thought hearing Sean interrupt
Yeah.
me.
Green Mountain, we did get a lot of kind of feedback from local residents to the Green Mountain Road. For those who don't know, that's a typical local access road area that people will go to bypass that landslide area. And every time I-5 has a closure there, we have significant issues to where the sheriff's office now actually goes on site and just closes it down to non-locals. There was some people that were really not upset, but really questioning that decision. And I think that we just want to make sure that the board understands in the community that it's not shut off to local traffic. If you're in the Woodland area, if you're in the Klamath area, if you're trying to get north to get home, it really is for those tractor trailers, the semi trucks, the large box trucks, which mostly can make it, but they get stuck up there. And I don't know if you guys saw the image of the double. That's what we see. And then it closes down every access point where emergency response can't get through. So anyway, it's just bad. And so that's why it's shut down in that way, just for you guys to know.
But I think it's like you say, we're talking about the big rigs.
Correct, right,
Yeah, they can't navigate a lot of that safely.
right. So it's kind of what we've been doing for the last few years.
So do we put up signs that just says no truck traffic, or what is it? How do we do that?
I wasn't on site. I couldn't get down there. We did have reader boards up. The sheriff's office actually kind of makes the call, at least in the last two events, to shut it down, not us. And we follow that lead. And so sheriff's office was on site directing traffic, closing it down, determining who was passing and who wasn't. So I think they just use their best judgment. But yeah, if a semi truck's coming through, probably local or not, you're not getting through Green Mountain at that time. So that's my understanding.
And the emergency responders not being able to get through is a good point, because but not only if the traffic stops on that road, then all the side roads are done too.
Oh, exactly.
It's not a good
Yep.
situation.
It's really bad. So
Has anybody checked the pile of debris on the bridge?
I looked at it again this morning. I looked at it.
Are you talking right out here?
Yeah, did it take it out, or is it still there?
No, it's still there. I pulled up at the Hall of Justice and looked at it while the water was really high. And if you were downstream, looking upstream, you could see this big wad of wood that was up against there. And then I went up on the Cowlitz Way Bridge and looked down at it, and all I could see was water. I couldn't even see the wood. The water was boiling over the top of it, so that you could see it from downstream, but you couldn't see it from upstream. And I can't even imagine how much pressure is on that pier.
Yeah.
My God, the fact that it's still standing just fascinates me. And that's a lot bigger now than it was before this event. If you saw all the crap that was in the Cowlitz River coming downstream, it was littered with debris. So I don't know. I can't imagine somebody somewhere needs to be responsible enough to get
Yeah.
out there with a boat and drag that crap off of there.
Water carries a lot of force, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was over in Pasco and they were having some water issues over there in some of their streams, a little place called Waitsburg that I go through quite often going over to Idaho, and they have a creek with a bridge that you cross over, and it was having troubles, and it showed this boat come down that somehow got loose and was up against that, and the water force was so much that it just sent it down under the water and underneath. I mean, it pushed that whole thing to get it underwater. Yeah, it carries a lot of force.
When I brought it up at a meeting with a couple of Kelso City Council people there, and I said, hey, I think this belongs to Kelso. And they said, well, you county's the ones with the boats, go take care of it.
From an engineering standpoint, does that raise any flags to you, Susan?
Of course, I'm not a bridge expert, but looking at debris and all that water and the extra force that it concentrates on it, yes.
And every time the tide changes and so it's going, that pressure is going up and down and up and down. Like it's just like a jackhammer. It might be slow and steady, but it's there. And that thing must be 35 or 40 feet wide now, that log jam.
Is there anything we can do? I mean, I understand it's Kelso's responsibility, but if they don't have the resources and wherewithal to do it.
It's not something that we have the resources to do either, because it's too far down. So when we have debris up against majority of our bridges, it's something that we get emergency HPAs for to remove the debris, and we can reach over the side of the deck and we pick it up and pull it out, is how we clear our jams. But that is way too high. You're right. Somebody with a boat would have to go out there. So it's not something that our crews would handle, because if it was the Lexington Bridge, we'd be calling someone in, because it's not something we can do. And then we have a couple other bridges we'd have to call people in for.
Give me a boat, I'll go take care of it. I'll even pay for the gas.
Crazy. Okay. All
So-
good?
Yep, unless you have other things for us, we're all good.
Building and planning.
Morning, Commissioners. Tracy Jackson, Building and Planning. Number 7 on the agenda tomorrow, it's a professional services agreement, and we're extending, or I'm asking or requesting that the board extend with Facet. They are helping us with our critical areas ordinance update. We signed we went out, the board, we went out for an RFP in September. We awarded the contract in October. Our critical areas update it's just a lot. It's a large magnitude. And so we're looking to extend it until September. No additional money, no additional anything. We just wanted some more best available science put into the draft ordinance. We will have, at the end of March, we will have what that ordinance looks like in hand between my planning manager, my senior planners, and Facet. The end of March, we'll have the draft. We're taking it to Planning Commission in May, and then we'll bring it back to the board because of the 4th of July holiday. It'll probably be mid-July. So what we plan on getting the board to approve and work it through the system. And then that will be part of our comp plan update. So we're doing this piece first, and then the comp plan is literally following about a month or two behind. So we are trying to get it done. We originally had a June 30 deadline, but the state extended our whole area or in our year till the end of the year. And my goal is to get it done before the fall is over. I don't want to wait until December. So this one should be done in July, and this is just extending it, just giving them additional time. That was it.
Adam might,
Oh, is he here?
no,
Oh,
his name plate.
oh, is it up here?
Yeah,
Oh, must have been from Hearing Examiner.
must have been.
I'll take it back
He
down.
might want it back.
I will take that down. Kelly, did you get an application for BPAC? Oh, okay. He said he submitted it, so
Oh, I saw one, Morris or,
he did, okay. So Matt Morris is District 3. He's a builder on the east side of the freeway right now. He's doing the Gassman Road custom homes. He's a broker, a realtor, and a builder, and he has applied for District 3. We would everybody down there would support him.
Okay.
So I'll leave it up to the board for an appointee, but that's our last opening we have on BPAC. We would be full then.
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy.
Commissioners, I can probably, run through this one. Our annual agreement with CFM Strategic Communications, they're our lobbyists back in Washington DC. His contracts come up. No change in the price of the contract. It's been this cost since I've been here. It's been 81,000 since I've been here. The change to it is their fiscal year ends in June and this contract ends in March. And so they'd like to extend it to the next contract will end in June, basically. So this contract is like for 15 months instead of 12 months at the same cost. This 19,000 you see, that came from our legal. We have a deal in there that gives them, if we go outside the scope of the contract, we can negotiate some additional work. I don't think we ever have, to my knowledge, but we have that ability. Legal felt that needed to have a hard dollar cap on it, and so they added that 19,000 to it.
I gotta tell you, when I first came on and saw this, I was questioning whether this was something that we wanted to continue doing. But after working with David and seeing the help that he has been, and I think we're gonna start to see some stuff, get some traction with the Cowlitz and with some things moving on. I really think it's something it's worth our investment.
Okay. So that's what that is. HR. You still got a room full. You got a lot of stuff. Oh, I don't know what your schedule is, Tracy, but when we're all done, if you got a second, I got a quick question for you.
Good morning, Jessica Warren, Human Resources. I do have a few requests today. The first request comes from the clerk's office. They are bringing on an employee that was previously in the office, transferring from another department. She's taking a pay decrease, so they're requesting to keep her step date that she currently has for July 1st. So she'll take a pay decrease, but then get another step increase on July, which will hopefully alleviate
Instead of
that.
waiting a whole 12 months.
Yes,
We just keeping her on her schedule.
correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we okay with that? Okay. Next is from Public Works. They're requesting to fill a vacant engineer position, and they'd like to fill this at one of three levels, either their engineer and training level, the engineer 1 level, or the senior engineer level. So they'd like to post it to try to see what they can attract talent wise.
So where they fill it depends on the talent that applies?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
I just came up in case you had questions on that. We actually had Michael Dyer from Lexington Flood Zone Control District. He wanted to come and speak about it, but we're just a little ahead of schedule. So I don't know. I can let him know he doesn't need to come, or I don't know. Do you guys have questions about it? It's filling our vacant engineering position that was vacated after the person in the previous position passed away. And so this position would primarily be focusing on diking, water, sewer, and stormwater. So we currently do not have anyone doing that. It's mainly Susan and Patrick doing that. So the county engineer and assistant county engineer. And we really desperately need to fill this position. So that's what our ask is. We're hoping to cast a wide net with, kind of having this engineer one, so very, very fresh, all the way up to a senior engineer if they have that experience and they're qualified. So that speaks to the pay range.
I'm trying to sort things out in my mind. You already briefed us on this, correct? We talked about this.
It was quite a while ago,
Okay.
but yes.
Okay, yeah.
And then also from Public Works, they are requesting to fill an accounting specialist 3 position. The employee just promoted into the supervisor role that they had posted. And then they're also requesting domino effect on this.
And you briefed us on this one too, right?
Correct. So this position was kind of our modified, downgraded position, and we filled that internally. And now we have a position open from that person who filled it. These are both budgeted positions. They're not new requests. And there will actually probably be less budget impact because we'll be filling brand new people at a lower step. So.
And then it's that time of year where we come to the board with the summer help request. I have 2 departments currently requesting summer help. The first is Public Works. They're looking to fill up to 15 positions. Some of these positions may be more of a part-time level position based off of needs. And then the other is IT. They're looking to fill 1 position. This current pay range for summer help is $18.50 for new hires and then $20.50 for returning. That was the same as last year, and we're not looking to increase that.
What does IT need summer help for?
I don't, what? So they come in and they do inventory of all the computers. I think last year they had 3 and they're decreasing to 1.
How many positions did you say for
Public Works,
Public Works?
up to 15.
15?
Yes.
Okay.
Last year we did 20. So we're reducing the amount and we're also reducing hours. So typically the summer help program is full-time, 40 hours a week, and from start to finish. And we're looking at doing something a little bit more flexible. If we don't need them full-time, they are technically seasonal help. We can send them home. They don't need to be on the clock if we're not super busy. So we're trying to kind of absorb some budgetary savings there as well. But primarily, and this could be duplicate information for you guys. You may already know this, but a lot of them are on our road crew and a lot of them are with our parks department because summer is our busiest time of year in parks. And so we actually usually have 4 of the 15 will be at parks alone. And then a majority of them will be on roads and then a miscellaneous position here and there at Public Works.
Yeah.
That's what I did when I was going to college for City of Centralia, shoveled a lot of gravel.
I think, was it Sean? Did you do summer help too? Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
summer help. Susan, summer help. So we actually, you guys already said, yes, I should leave. No. But we actually have some of our hires that we end up bringing on after they're done in college and have worked for us actually are summer help that come in full time. So it's actually, I think it's a good thing and it helps I think it helps us and it helps them, so.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then the last I have is a request for 2 executive sessions. The first, performance of a public employee, and then the second is collective bargaining.
Okay. Can we, maybe, you mind if we work through these committee things real quick and
Of
then
course.
get that done? Who was the one on homeless housing? That was Gina?
Good morning.
But was that a reappointment?
Yeah, it was one of our current members who looks like they're submitting for a reappointment.
Wasn't it? It was Tricia Johnson, right? Or Tricia Rodman.
Rodman, Yeah.
She's a good person.
Yeah.
Well, okay with Tricia.
Yeah.
And I know on the solid waste, Mike sent us an email this morning supporting that reappointment of that one, so.
Yep.
So I think we're good with that one too.
We did already approve Matt?
Solid waste.
No, for BPAC, we did.
Do you,
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
I'm okay doing it if BPAC is okay with it.
Yeah.
You guys
Yeah, I'm good.
are okay? So you took care of BPAC too. You got that? All right. Perfect. Thank you, Jessica. So 2 executive sessions, collective bargaining, how long? 10 for each? Okay, we'll go into executive session, collective bargaining, 10 minutes, and performance of public employee, 10 minutes.
Excellent.
I can report. The board is extending the executive session an additional 5 minutes until 10:13. The board is extending the executive session an additional 5 minutes until 10:18. The board is extending The board is extending the executive session an additional 5 minutes until 10:23. The board is extending the executive session an additional 5 minutes until 10:28. The board is extending the executive session an additional 5 minutes until 10:33. Weird. The board is extending the executive session an additional 5 minutes until 10:53 a.m.
Back from executive session, no actions taken. Before we get out of here, Sean, I do have a question for you because I got a request. Evidently, there's another opioid settlement out there and they want me to sign this thing if we want to pursue that. If you had a chance to, they used to come to myself and Kathy, and I don't know if you're seeing those things, but they come to me because I ended up signing them and I don't know. Did she kind of do a financial thing, what it meant?
Mhm.
Have you had a chance to look at that one or not?
I haven't looked at it yet. It's in my inbox from this morning. But I plan on getting it in front of the board, either Tuesday or the following Monday.
Oh, okay. Because I see it keep popping up and they want me to, and I don't know what the end date for signing on to that is or what the dollar amount is, but
I believe we just have to sign by the 12th if we want to move forward with.
of April.
Yeah.
So you got a
Okay.
little bit
We got a
of
little
time. Okay, that was my only question then.
I'll take a look at it today, and if we need to get back tomorrow, we'll get back tomorrow on it.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Anything else?
I do have one thing.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman. If you guys remember Cascadia Tech, talked to us.
Cascadia Tech.
They're wanting to develop a forestry management program in Cowlitz County. And they got some
Yeah, I
funding
think
to
so.
build their little building there up behind Colamba football field. But they've approached me about wanting to see if there's any locations that the county has that they can use as a classroom. And they'd be willing to pay for it. And we did get that updated list from Sean and Savannah on the buildings and locations that we have. Are we interested in showing them any of those and entertaining, utilizing those and paying us for a year? They figured that they'll have the funding within the next legislative session to finish the building in Colamba. So they asked me if we would be interested in having them somewhere for a year. And I said I'd bring it up.
If we have the open space, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, when Chaplaincy was looking for space, we were trying to accommodate that. We looked over here, we looked at the WSU, like the basement down there, nobody uses that over there. So me personally, I don't have any problem with that. Yeah.
So I'll follow up with them and let them know that we'll see what we got and take them on a tour and
Yeah.
see what they like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, we will adjourn.